Yo, what is up, everybody? Your boy E-Man from the Average Joe Sports Talk Podcast, and coming at you with another live stream episode, the weekly episode. And we're just a couple of days away, just actually a day away from the NBA Finals. And I know the road travel was a little different for both teams, even though earlier during the last week, 2 weeks ago, it looked like it was going to be a sweep of both ends until the Miami Heat decided to make it a little more interesting with the Boston Celtics. They played with their food a little bit, and they went to 7 games. You know, the rest is history. The Jocker, was a little different. He went ahead, and the Lakers were swept by the Nuggets, and, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray had themselves a series. The Heat, again, pulled it off at the end. Last game was a no-doubter, Game 7. Jason Tatum went down, so that's it. Storybook ending for both teams right now. Cinderella story, even though the Nuggets were the number 1 seed all year long. Nobody really believed in them, but they're in the finals. The 8th seed, the play-in tournament, the first play-in tournament team ever to make it to the NBA Finals, the Miami Heat. I know the play-in tournament has only been around for a couple of years. And, of course, both teams are going to battle it out. And I'm going to give you the preview. I want to break down this series and give you my predictions on what's going to happen here. So without further ado, let's start this off with a little video. Watch this. Oh, hey, hey, watch this. Watch this. And yeah, it's all about to get buzzing up in here, man. All right, the Heat against the Nuggets. Let me give you everything you need to know about this series, my man. And pretty much it's going to be a team that are very different from each other. Both are 2 completely different offenses. You got number 1 seed against the 8th seed. The Heat have been the 8th seed, have been knocking down every top seed they face. And we're going to have an interesting scenario. So let me give you the tell of the tape. First to start, Denver Nuggets, number 1 seed. They actually have a 3.3.5 game differential over the Heat. 5th in scoring and offensive rating. All right, 15th in defensive rating. They're not a great defensive team. Net rating overall over the Heat, you're looking at 3.4 points. That's 6th in the league. Average points per game, they're number 2 in the league. Now the Heat, on the other hand, their bread and butter is defense. They're 9th rating differential. Again, all year long, the Heat have struggled scoring the basketball, and they did better during the postseason. And they shot the 3 better during the postseason. Their leader is Jimmy Butler at 22.9 points per game in the regular season. And the odds right now are plus 300 for the Heat to win it. Not a bad odds. Right now you can't count the Heat out. Can't count them at all. And to be honest with you, there's going to be some really, really interesting matchups here. Both teams match up so bad. There is not really a exact science here. But it's going to be a chess match. And it's going to come down to, again, the basics. Which superstar shines the brightest? Which team executes the best? Which supporting cast is going to execute the best? Because we got 2 superstars here. We got Nikola Jokic, 2-time MVP, and probably the best player in the playoffs, followed by Jimmy Butler, who, again, playoff Jimmy, man, carry that team through the Bucks, the Heat, the Knicks. Half of the series against the Celtics, he was just on a different level and then kind of tailed off. And Came back strong the last game and a half, game 6. He picked it up in the fourth quarter, a la Jimmy playoffs. And the 8th game, he averaged 28 points. He did fine. I mean, he did great. Now in the postseason, let me actually bust open some numbers here. Nikola Jokic has been averaging 29.9 points per game. He has been insane. Jamal Murray has been averaging 27.7, average over 30 points against the Lakers. Aaron Gordon has been averaging about 13 points per game, 14 from Michael Porter Jr., KCP, Contavious Caldwell-Pope, 11.5, and Bruce Brown, who's been such their spark plug, about 12.2 points per game. That's their averages in the playoffs right now. Let's look at the Heat right now. In the playoffs, the Heat, let's look at and I'm going to give you the main superstar, the guys that actually get over the burn. But Jimmy, 28.5 points per game. Bam Adebayo, 16.8 points per game. Gabe Vincent, 13.1. Caleb Martin, the resurgent Caleb Martin, the guy that was released by the Hornets and has had himself a banging playoff so far. He's been the second most consistent scorer in the Heat, because Bam has been taking games on and off. 14.1 points per game. Max Strus, 10 points. And look, Kyle Lowry, 10 points off the bench. 8 points off the bench. That's pretty much what you got going on over here. And Duncan Robinson got some positive minutes and 9.3 points per game off the bench. Right now, that's what we have. These are the main players who've got to play the most minutes in the series, and this is where they have advantage right now. Is the Denver Nuggets. They have pretty much the firepower on their side. Let me give you the keys to Miami. What Miami needs to do, first and foremost, the Heat coach Eric Spoelstra will have to find a way to do what Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, LeBron James, Anthony Davis were able to do. Stop Nikola Jokic, the Joker. However, is there a coach that could come up with something to slow down the Joker? Is definitely the GOAT, Eric Spoelstra. Because right now, he might be probably in the midst of his best coaching job just yet in his 15-year career. That's the bottom line. Stop the Joker, which no other team has been able to do in the playoffs. Win the series. That's the number one thing right now. And the biggest key to stopping Nikola Jokic, it's going to be Bam Adebayo. And Bam Adebayo, his main function is going to be not just playing defense, but also make the Joker play defense. And he has to stay on the floor. So Bam Adebayo has to really stay out of foul trouble. It's going to be tough. But if there's a coach that can put Adebayo in certain plays that can make him successful, then it's definitely Eric Spoelstra. Bam is the key right now for the Heat. Without question, there's Jimmy Butler. All right? Without question, Jimmy has to have playoff Jimmy performance all day in this series. However, the biggest key is going to be Bam Adebayo staying on that floor. When Bam scores 20-plus points per game, over 20 points, the Heat are very tough to beat. That's the bottom line. Bam, it's all on Bam's hand right now. Bam Adebayo has to be the guy that's going to be the difference maker in this series. He has to play the best basketball of his career if the Heat are going to have a chance. Remember, it goes without saying that Jimmy Butler is going to have to do Jimmy magic. Absolutely. But Bam has to be the key. Has to be the key. Let's go back. Let's go back to look what the Heat are going to go against, right? Jamal Murray averaging in the playoff 27.7 points per game. He is shooting 48% from the field, almost 40% from beyond the arc. He's trouble. He's hard to guard. Nikola Jokic, almost 30 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, and 10 assists. He's averaging a freaking triple-double. Shooting 53 from the field and 47 from three. This is a tough tough matchup for the Heat. Granted, Heat are got probably are the best defensive team the Denver Nuggets have faced this far in the postseason. So let's take that into consideration. All right, that's pretty much it. So Bam has a huge role in this matchup. Huge role in this matchup. Also, Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, and Duncan Robinson, along with Max Strus, gotta hit their shots in a consistent basis. Have to. There is no other option. Think about this. Strus been playing solid, 10 points per game in the playoffs so far. Caleb Martin, unsung hero. I mean, he had a huge series against Boston, 14.1 points per game and throughout the entire playoffs. Right? That's right there next to Bam. Gabe Vincent, who's been shooting the lights out from beyond the arc at 39%. Caleb has been shooting 43% from beyond the arc. All right, Max has been shooting modest 35. Duncan Robinson has been shooting 44% from beyond the arc on 9.3 points per game. So these guys have to play. If they played really well against the Celtics, the supporting cast for the Heat played really well against the Celtics, and the Heat shot 39% from beyond the arc in that series. Overall, they shot 39% beyond the arc, not just that series, throughout the playoffs, which is pretty darn good. They've been holding their opponents in the playoffs to about 107 points per game. So those are the key factors for the Heat, man. I'm not even mentioning how great Jimmy has to play. He has to play Jimmy playoffs times 100. But Bam Adebayo is such a key piece here because he's got to be handling the biggest problem in the NBA in this postseason in Nikola Jokic. Not just defensively, but he also has to play offensively well enough to get over 20 points per game, score 20 plus, so that he can have a chance. Absolutely. Now let's go to the Nuggets. The Nuggets it's like Novocaine, bro. Just keep simple and old school. You gotta keep making sure that Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray keep feasting on opponents' defense. 27.7 points per game for Jamal Murray, who has been unconscious. And Nikola Jokic with his triple-double, 29, 13, and 10. This has to keep happening. There is if they keep doing this, they'll be successful. That's why they were able to sweep the Lakers. I mean, right now, Nikola has an NBA record of 8 triple-doubles in the playoffs, 6 coming in the last 8 games. He has left his best games for the toughest opponents. Denver shot 40.4% actually beyond the arc from three-point line against the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. They need to outshoot the Miami Heat from long range in order to beat that tough Miami zone defense, because the zone is what's been keeping the Heat very successful in this throughout the playoffs. That's how they're playing, man. They play that zone. But if a team keeps shooting over 40% or 40% from beyond the arc, that's the way you beat that zone, and that's what Denver has to do. Jamal Murray averaged 32.5 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 5.3 assists against the Lakers in the conference finals. Again, Jamal needs to be playing in that unconscious level over and over again if they're going to have a chance. It is. And of course, it goes without mention, just like Jimmy, Nikola needs to keep feasting. Here's the thing. So you got Bam from the side of the Heat, who's going to probably play Nikola 75% of the time. If we look at this Heat roster, right, they don't have anybody else. So what? I know Cody Zeller is going to get some minutes here because he's going to need the bodies. I know that you're going to have Kevin Love get some minutes here because they're going to need the bodies on Nikola. But after Bam, dude, you just got, when it comes to their big man, you just got a bunch of dishwashers and landscapers playing the big role here, playing the center position and the power forward position after Bam Adebayo. So that's a problem, and that's a mismatch because Bam's going to be busy. And on the other hand, the Nuggets can really get Bam out of his game. I mean, look, the Nuggets have size. Michael Porter Jr. is like 6'7", 6'8", can shoot from beyond the arc. That's a problem. Aaron Gordon, we show how good he played. 13 points per game so far. He shot 35% from beyond the arc, so he hit his shots while he was open, 49 from the field. That's another big guy. He's another, 6'9", 6'10 guy? So you're not going to see Nikola Jokic on Bam Adebayo when it comes to play defense. You're going to have a high dosage of Aaron Gordon body him Adebayo so Jokic can just have his way and not get in foul trouble. Michael Porter Jr. can even take a shot at that and actually do some switching. They got to run pick and roll. See, this is where the mismatch happens because with Nikola, he is just not your typical center that's got to get the ball down low. He's not your Embiid kind of guy. This guy brings the ball up the floor. This guy plays the pick and roll. This guy is the point guard of that team. All right. He's averaging 10.3 assists per game. And that's why he's so dangerous because he's going to bring any center the Heat throw at him on top and really have like Bam Adebayo and whoever else is going to guarding him in no man's land. And then on the defensive side, Aaron Gordon can take a shot at any of the bigs Miami has. So the center position is an absolute nightmare. It's going to be an absolute nightmare matchup for the Miami Heat. However, if there's a GOAT out there that can get it done from a coaching standpoint, from schemes and everything else, it's absolutely fucking Eric Spoelstra because that dude is goated. Put some respect on Eric Spoelstra's name. Second finals in the last 2 years. Put some respect on his name. So yeah, that absolutely is going to be a nightmare to guard. Now, on the other hand, Jamal Murray is going to be another nightmare. Why? Because there's not a single guard in that Heat lineup that can stick with Murray. Most likely, Jimmy is probably going to be on Murray most of the time. But I think it's going to be one of those games that Murray behind overall also averaged about 6.1 assists per game in the playoffs, so that he could give it up. So I think it's going to be an adjustment period here in game one. Here's another key take I'm going to give you. The Denver Nuggets are about going on a week of rest. They're going to be playing at home. I know people say that look, an activity sometimes is not that great. However, the Heat on 2 days rest after a grueling 7-game series are traveling to Denver. Mile High City, where not just altitude, but there's a lot of dispensaries. And I'm just kidding about dispensaries, but I think the altitude is going to affect them because they're not rested. Yes, they are on game form because they haven't skipped a beat, but they're not going to be well rested. And now they're going to go play at an altitude that's going to definitely affect their endurance. So it's one of those things that it's got to take them a game to get used to that altitude. Even though the Heat has probably been there since, yesterday, right? Since Tuesday, even though they played on Monday. So that's where we're at. Denver is heading strong in game one. Absolutely. Let's go ahead and let me give you the team's keys to victory, right? Here's what the team that does this better, whoever achieves the next 4 or 5 key metrics I'm going to give you, it's probably going to be the team that's going to be successful. First and foremost, the team that shoots the best from beyond the arc, because both teams have been shooting great, it's going to be the team that it's going to be most successful. The team with the superior coaching and team culture, best adjustments, who can adjust on the fly. Both teams did this really well. And they showed it against, of course, the Nuggets, against the Lakers, and the Heat against Celtics. The team with the superior supporting role players, whatever supporting cast steps up big here, because we know they got their superstars, it's going to be really important. And the bottom line, man, which of the team's superstar wants it more? Jimmy, Jokic, Bam, Jamal. This is it. It's going to come down to the team that shoots the best, long range from beyond the arc, superior coaching, adjustment, and team culture, which both teams are really strong on. The team with a superior supporting cast and bench, and the team who wants it more. Which superstar is going to shine the brightest? So far, Jimmy has shined one of the brightest, and so is Nikola Jokic. Jamal Murray has been a huge factor who people got to give him his flowers. He has been playing like a man possessed, and doesn't get mentioned as one of the best postseason players this season. He is 27.7 points per game. All right. Jamal averaged 32.5 points per game against the Lakers. Dude, this guy's playing excellent. There's a lot of matchup problems here for the Heat. Not so much for the Nuggets, but a lot of match problems for the Heat. Overall advantages and disadvantages. I'm going to give you the advantages and disadvantages based on different factors here. So, for example, first, coaching. Advantage, Miami Heat. Miami Heat have Eric Spoelstra and a very good coaching core. It's Miami Heat culture, man. They do this without major superstars. Jimmy's a heck of a player, but he's not a transcendent superstar MVP. He does become a superstar with the best when the playoffs start. But advantage when it comes to culture, when it comes to coaching, and I think adjustment on the fly, it's definitely the Miami Heat. The forward position. I am going to give it to the Miami Heat. I think Jimmy Butler, I know he should be a two guard, but he plays that small forward position / two guard. I'm going to put him in the forward position because he's going to play that small forward, and he gets you a lot of points. Remember, Jimmy for a guy that's not that tall, gets himself, he's a really good two-way player. He averaged 7 rebounds per game and 5.5 assists, over 2 steals. He's a very good defensive, very good two-way player. So he's going to score, and he also going to go ahead and play some really good defense because that's what he does. At the center position, of course, advantage to the Joker, Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. I think Miami's going to have a really hard time. They don't have the bodies. And in order to keep Bam Adebayo, who's a hell of a defender, out of foul trouble, they're going to have to switch off a lot because it's not just down low that you got to worry about Jokic. It's also beyond the three-point line, also on the give and go, also on the short range. He's going to be a tough cover, man. He's going to be a tough cover because Jokic can also take it to the hole. And he gets a lot of these cuts and plays, give and goes that really get their opponent, whoever's guarding him, into a lot of trouble. At the guard position, and I mean overall guard, point guard, two guard, same thing with the center. Advantage the Denver Nuggets because, again, Jamal has been averaging 32.5 against the Lakers, averaged 32.5 against the Lakers, 6.5, almost 6.3 rebounds and 5.3 assists. There's not a single point guard or guard in the Heat locker room that can D him up. And I know Caleb Martin's been playing really good basketball. All right. And I know that you have guys like Struz who have size, but Gabe Vincent can stick Jamal. Caleb, Struz, Lowry, even if Tyler Hero comes back, because they're saying he's going to come back in this series. I'm not even talking about Tyler Hero because he's going to come back and he's going to be a shell of himself. So I think Tyler Hero is going to get very few minutes. That's why I think in this series is going to be Jimmy Butler, who's going to be the glove on Jamal. But the guard position advantage the Denver Nuggets. Okay? The supporting players, your bench players, and outside of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, outside of Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, advantage is the Denver Nuggets. Caleb Martin's been playing out of this world, right? Third leading scorer, right, for them. And Gabe Vincent, another. Yeah, these guys are all freaking undrafted and people that got released from teams. 13.1 points per game, max at 10. All right, you have Duncan Robinson at 9 points. That's a lot of 8 for Lowry. They've been doing a great job, but the Denver Nuggets supporting cast is much better than they are. After Jamal and Joker, Aaron Gordon, all right, Aaron Gordon has been averaging 13 points per game, 5 rebounds. He guarded Anthony Davis a lot in the last series. He's got to contribute. 49% from the field. Michael Porter Jr., 40% from beyond the arc from the three-point line. 45%. This guy is 6'7". He's a problem in the outside, but it's also athletic that can get down. Average 8 rebounds per game at 14.6 points per game. KCP, Contavious Calder-Pope, average 41.1% from beyond the arc, 48% all right, from the field, 11.7 points per game. Bruce Bowen, hustling, playing defense, average 12.2%, shot 53% from the field. These are the kind of guys. These are the dogs, man. They're not deep off the bench, but these are the dogs, man, that come out and give this some precious minutes. It's going to be a problem for Miami. This is a much worse matchup for Miami than the Celtics were. Here's some key stats, right? Overall in the playoffs, the Denver Nuggets have been shooting 38.6% from beyond the arc. That's second. They're 13th in attempted threes. They don't attempt a lot of threes, but they make a lot of threes. Averaging the second most points, which is advantage to the Denver Nuggets. When it comes to rebounding, they're fourth overall. Seventh overall rebounding. Fourth overall defensively. Third in assists. So offensively, we know what time it is. The number first in turnovers. So the Miami Heat, surprisingly enough, even though they struggle from beyond the arc, they've been the best shooting three-point team in the postseason, even though they struggle so much throughout the year scoring the basketball. So they picked it up. That's why I think this is a key. Whoever wins this battle, the three-point battle, it's going to be key to sign this. Now, the other big battle here is going to be the rebounding battle. All right. The Heat are 10th overall, and the Nuggets are 7th. That's going to be a huge matchup that you're going to look here because where wins the defensive battle, offensive, defensive, whatever, overall, that's going to be second half points. It's going to mean for the Nuggets, every time they rebound, you got to be careful. Somebody's going to be going down the court, and somebody's going to get hit by Joker with a long pass. They just move the ball fast pretty quick. But the Heat are probably the best, like I mentioned, the best defensive team the Nuggets have ever faced in this postseason so far. Without being said, watch this. Oh, hey, watch this. Oh. My man Usher just said it, baby, that he's dancing to the freaking trophy, and it is time. Final prediction, Nuggets in 6. Yep, Nuggets in 6. That's my final prediction. Wow, hey, give you 28 minutes of NBA preview, man. Give you a lot of stats, give you a lot of content there so you could just breathe it in, man. Swallow it all in, unpack it. And I want to close today with just talk a little bit of football, right? I want to talk about a little bit about DeAndre Hopkins, who was released earlier this week.
Damn!
Yep. DeAndre Hopkins, man. He was released earlier last week, and, I know they were trying to trade him. I know the Cardinals were trying to trade him, but he has been a free agent now for several days. And yet teams pursuing the 5-time Pro Bowlers are unknown. There hasn't been anybody publicly going after DeAndre Hopkins out there. Rumored the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills were very active in acquiring Hopkins prior to his release. and supposedly are the two front runners that have interest in signing him. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, if the Chiefs get DeAndre Hopkins, that's pretty wild, man. That's tough, man. You give that guy to Patrick Mahomes, and I know DeAndre has lost a step or two. It's not the same DeAndre who was like top 5, man, in his first 10 seasons. You know, this guy in the first 10 NFL seasons, he was like, has the fourth most receptions, right, after 10 seasons, catches per game, 4th in receiving yards per game, 5-time Pro Bowler. This guy was nasty. Last year only played 9 games. Look, had some really good games, had 3 touchdowns, a couple of games over 100. Remember, Kyler Murray only threw in a couple of those games. And after that, you had a bunch of cab drivers at quarterback, Colt McCoy. So even though he wasn't that stud that he's always been, I think he's still productive. I think he's better than probably, 15 top 15 receivers in the league, if it's healthy, of course, in the right offense. He needs the right quarterback in the right offense. Kansas City Chiefs, in that offense, this dude's going to catch 10 touchdowns. All right? He's going to put better numbers than Juju Smith-Schuster did for the Chiefs if he's healthy. All right? Because he's still a guy that, even though I think he's lost a step or two when it comes to separation and speed, listen, he can still go up and get it. All right? I can still go up and get it. So there was rumor that, DeAndre was, hinting that he wanted to go to the Jets, but, Robert Saleh put that down to sleep, saying that they're happy with their wide receiving core right now. Also, rumors about the Titans, and of course, Vrabel is like that. Vrabel's like, no, man, we're rebuilding, bro. We don't want him. But if the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills are in play, those are 2 perfect, tailor-made situations for DeAndre Hopkins, who, by the way, will have to take a pay cut. DeAndre will have to take a pay cut if whoever he signs with. If it's the Chiefs, take a pay cut than what he was making. He's got to take a pay cut with the Buffalo Bills. But that will be 2 ideal scenarios where DeAndre Hopkins will fit perfect. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. As a Giants fan, you know what I'm saying? As a Giants fan, I would love them to go to the Giants and play along Waller, who has been looking like a stud, with Danny Dimes. So that's what I would love to do. I would love for him to do, go to the Giants, but I know that's not going to happen. Let me hit the comments real quick. Thank you, Pro Football Talk. Browns could be a good fit, reunite with Deshaun Watson. Absolutely. I think so. I think DeAndre Hopkins has definitely lost a step or two. I don't know how much great this year Deshaun Watson is going to be, but yeah, that's definitely a fit. That could be a home. But overall, yes, the best case scenario, I think the Chiefs and the Bills would absolutely be like the dream team for DeAndre to kind of finish off his career there, maybe a couple more seasons if healthy. And remember, last year he didn't play because he wasn't healthy. It was because he was suspended. So with that being said, yeah, absolutely. The Browns can definitely work. I love the Giants, again, just from a biased standpoint, my team, brother. But absolutely. But the Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, that would be crazy. With Patrick Mahomes, this guy's going to have 10 touchdowns. All right. He's going to catch, and he's going to go over 1,000 yards if he plays at least 14 games because it's Patrick Mahomes. All right. Remember, Patrick Mahomes, it was just Travis Kelce and a bunch of plumbers in the wide receiving core. This guy steps into the mix, and he's not just a freaking plumber. He is definitely a difference maker. Not Tyreek Hill difference maker, but it's going to be one of those things that watch out. Yes, bro. Yes, Football Talk. I agree with you. Bengals have a better cap situation to bring him as well. You're right. Like I said, if he goes to the Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs, he's going to have to take a lot less money than what he probably wants to. But with the Bengals can definitely give him some money. So is the Browns. I think the Browns can also afford him to give him more money. So, look, at this point, nobody knows. It hasn't been like a big frenzy right after he left. So let's see where he ends up. Man. But I think it's going to be nice. I think it's going to be wherever he lands. He's definitely still, to me, in my book, DeAndre Hopkins can be a contributor. He's still talented enough. He's not that guy from, like I mentioned, first 10 years in the league. But this dude in the right offense can be a problem. Can be a matchup problem. He can still a matchup problem. he still can go out there and get those 50-50 balls because he still has that ability. So that's all I got for today. Hey, Football Talk, I appreciate you jumping in the feed, man, and the live stream and gives us some great comments, man. Love it. Love it. Thank you very much for tuning in. And everybody else, thank you for tuning in. Just gave you again, we just went over all the NBA Finals preview, talked a little bit about DeAndre Hopkins. Let's see what he ends up. Thank you, everybody, for listening and the audio platforms. Thank you, everybody, for watching on Twitter, YouTube, and Rumble. This is where I go live at least once a week. Appreciate the love. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Your boy E-Man from the Average Joe Sports Talk Podcast signing out. Peace.